Today we're going to talk about mentorship relative to building intuition and producing the outcomes and results in life you would like to create. In my opinion, mentorship is the best way to accelerate one's progress, hands down, toward fulfilling or creating an outcome result or becoming a version of yourself that you aspire to be that you've never experienced before. And here's the reason why. If we look at all the different aspects of building intuition, right? Absorbing information, leveraging experts, experiences, making sure we're putting ourselves in environments to have experience so that ultimately we have all the pieces to the puzzle we need so we can put that puzzle together and then ultimately fulfill our outcome. Like it might take years, right, or decades to accumulate the data, the information required for our unconscious self to put together the puzzle to bridge that gap from where we are to where we want to go. When we leverage a mentor, something that could take us 10 years usually, if we're having to figure out all that information and go out and find it and discover the expert and absorb the reading and the information and all that energy that it takes, you could take 10 years of work and compress it into one. Or 10 years of work and compress it into 6 months, literally. Or sometimes you can compress 10 years of work into a year and achieve more in a year than you would in a decade, not leveraging mentorship. And so, the mentor, if they are a true mentor in the way I define mentor, they have a few abilities and capacities. Number one, they've already achieved the result for themselves. Most likely, they've already achieved the result for themselves. So they've done a decade's worth of work, and they've figured out how to produce that outcome result so they can give you the cheat sheet, and not only give you the cheat sheet, but they can make sure you're executing it correctly. And so it's one thing to learn how to produce an outcome result or follow an exercise program as an example, and it's a completely different thing to do every exercise correctly. And so if we're doing the exercises incorrectly, but we think we're doing it right, we're never going to get the result. And so if we have somebody making micro corrections right from day one in the start, and we can avoid that learning curve, oh my gosh, we can save so much time and ultimately get to a place we would never get on our own. Or it's the same thing when it comes to, nutrition. Like I could read a nutrition book, right, and I have, and I could even look at a nutrition plan, made by a top expert as an example and go, okay, this is the way I'm going to eat. And then I have spent hours going to the grocery store, trying to find all the stuff to cook, and then getting home and and figuring all this stuff out, where if I have a mentor whom I go to the store with and they show me how to buy this stuff in the most efficient way, and I do that thing with them again and again, it's like all of a sudden I'm not looking around everywhere for 2 hours in the store. It's a 20-minute trip. And then when we get home and they show me how to prep the food and do it all at once, and they show me how to weigh out the food, and it's like all of a sudden they can show me how to do this in the most effective way because they've already done it, right? So no matter what area of life I'm looking to create a skill set in, if I got a mentor there to guide my path and my way, I can get results much faster and in much less time. And so a mentor has fulfilled the outcome and result for themselves usually. Step two, they have repeated it. They've replicated their result, and they've gotten the result for many other people. Believe it or not, it's often different sometimes than getting a result for yourself and then translating that result to another human. Some people, a lot of people actually, can get a result for themselves, but then when they try to help somebody understand how to get a result for themselves, they're not able to do it, either because they don't fully understand how they got the result themselves, or because they don't understand that training somebody to do what they do is different than just telling them what to do, right? And so mentors have replicated the result in other people, number two. And number three, they're able to do so in a predictable time frame, right? Leveraging the same system again and again and again. And so they're leveraging a system, not just themselves, right? And they understand that distinction. And so when I trained in martial arts, as an example, I found a martial arts master who was a master themselves, right? They achieved, top ability as a martial artist and had top accomplishments themselves. Number two, they trained thousands of people in martial arts and trained hundreds to be elite martial artists. And they had a system that they were taking people through to produce that outcome and that result. And so when they trained me, I was going through their system. They understood how to develop me because they'd already done it with hundreds of other people. And I just had to do the work of getting myself to show up for the mentorship and for the training. And in those years that I spent with my martial arts master, I would never have accomplished what I did in martial arts without them if I was training on my own. I would have never got to that level of accomplishment, that level of ability, and I definitely would not have done it in the time frame that I was able to do it. And so when I understood that through martial arts, I replicated that in business. I replicated that in nutrition. I replicated that in athletics. I replicated that around relationship. Like literally anything that I've looked to create as an outcome and result in my life, something I aspired to create, whether it was short-term or long-term, I went out and I looked to find mentorship, and I valued that above all else because I could compress all of those elements of absorbing information, leveraging experts, and experience all into one, right? It's like you can kind of leverage all four aspects of training intuition, and you can compress time with the right mentorship. And so mentors are people that you're hiring, or you're working with, or you're asking them to train you in a direct way relative to the skill set you must develop to produce the outcome that you're looking to produce. And so that's the big difference between mentorship and expert. Is expert might be giving you qualified information in an accelerated way, and they might even be guiding you in some sense, right? Showing you how to, like an exercise person might show you how to do a correct squat, or might be able to show you how to execute the right, system of training correctly, but they didn't necessarily develop the system of training. They don't understand the idiosyncrasies of being able to get you to a place where you can train yourself, right? And a mentor would be able to not only help you understand the system of fitness, make sure you're exercising it correctly, doing all the movements correctly, but also would be able to show you how to motivate yourself and create the system so you're executing it on your own and ultimately don't need the expert to fulfill the workout, right? And so mentorship is the hardest to find, but it is also the most valuable. And so if I can, be a mentor to you as it pertains to your inner developmental journey, or understanding how to leverage intuition to produce the outcomes that you like in your life, like I'm 100% here for that. And again, depending on what you want to create, that will determine what mentorships are going to be most valuable and important to you. You always want to think about, the elements of intuition relative through the context of the outcome and the specific vision you're looking to create, and have that inform the way you're pulling the levers inside of intuition. And so I hope this session was helpful for you, and have a beautiful rest of your day, and we'll look forward to seeing you in a future session.